Okay, guys, I am super sorry that I cannot be here with you today as we talk about a review of how to graph an equation of a line. But my very best friend in the whole wide world, her mother in law passed away. And so her funeral services are today, and she was very close to our family. She thought of Caden as one of her own grandsons, and he called her grandmother. So anyway, she was super close to us, and I have to be there today. So I'm really, really sorry that I cannot be here with you today to help welcome back the second semester of 2017. Anyway, I wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of what I need for you to do today. And I really need for you guys to listen through this PowerPoint video. I need for you guys to work super hard and be on your very, very best behavior. So I'm going to kind of review some stuff, even though we're kind of ready to move into some new stuff. I don't want to do that until I'm here with you. So we're going to kind of review, as I was looking over your tests that you took at the end of the semester. A lot of you struggled with being able to graph the line, of knowing where to graph, knowing where to start. And so we're going to kind of review that a little bit today. And then I'm going to let you practice so that we'll be able to move right into what I need for you to do on Wednesday. So, all right, here we go. What I want you to remember is that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. It's really important that you remember that m is your slope. All right, so that's what's going to tell you how to move on the graph. Your slope tells you the top number. If it's not a fraction, you need to make it a fraction. And the way you make it a fraction is by putting the number under 1. Now, if it already starts out as a fraction, that's actually even better. So m is our slope. Remember that our slope tells us the top number of our slope tells us whether to move up or down. If it's positive, we move up. If it's negative, we move down. The bottom number tells you to move left or right. Left if it's negative, right if it's positive. Remember that the b in slope-intercept form, the b is your y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So you can actually start your graph on the y-axis. So this number right here, this b, that part right there, is really where you start your graph. That's the most important thing that the equation tells you first. So let's look at a couple of examples. Here, if I've got the equation y equals 2 over 3x minus 1, the very first thing that I need to do is I need to figure out what my slope and my y-intercept are. Now, what we really like about this is that it's already solved for y. There's no math that I have to do in order to get y by itself. And so I can just look at my equation. Y equals m. So that must be 2 over 3 is my m. So my slope is 2 over 3. X plus b, that must be my b is negative 1. So my slope is 2 over 3, and my y-intercept is negative 1. Now, if you'll remember, it's important that you start your graph at your y-intercept. So what we're going to do is we're going to plot that y-intercept. Now, our y-intercept is a negative 1. You've got to know which one your y-axis is. If you remember, this one right here that goes left to right is your x-axis, and your y-axis is the one that runs up and down. So you're going to look on this line right here, and you're going to find negative 1. And when you find that negative 1, that right there is where you're going to start your graph. So you're going to find it, you're going to put a point there. All right. Now, if that were a different number, that would be the number we were looking for. We always are going to start our graph right here at that y-intercept. Okay. So once we have the y-intercept plotted, then we have to look at our slope. So based on our slope, which we got from our equation, we have 2 over 3. Now remember, if we went back and looked at the up and down over left to right, the top number tells me to either go up or down. Well, the top number is positive. It's a positive 2. So that tells me I'm going to move up 2 on my graph. So 1, 2. Okay. And then the bottom number, the 3, tells us that we're either going to move left or right, depending on if it's positive or negative. Well, the 3 is positive, so the positive direction is right. So I'm going to move up 2, and to the right 3. So here I go. Up 2, 1, 2, and to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, I would continue to plot points. Now, I don't have enough room to go back up to 2 and to the right 3. I run off my graph. And so I don't add extra lines. Instead, I go back to where I started. So I go back to my -1 and I go, okay, which other way could I go that would still give me a point that would be in a straight line? Well, instead of going up and to the right, I can reverse both of those. And I can go down and to the left. So if I went down 2 and to the left 3, notice how that gives me a point that's still in line with my other 2 points. So if I'm going to reverse one of them, I have to reverse the other. I can't go down and to the right, or I can't go up and to the left. I've got to go both. I've got to reverse both of them. So I went down 2 and to the left 3. Now that I've got my 3 points, and again, I personally like 4 points. I can accept 3 points. Sometimes on your worksheets, you're only able to get 2 points in, and I can live with it, but I don't really like it. So, but that's not your fault. That's the paper, that's the computer's fault. So, anyway. All right, then after you have your lines, you take a ruler, which we use for drawing straight lines, nothing else. You take your ruler and then you just simply draw your line through those points. Remember, do not go dot to dot. Extend your line, make it nice and pretty, and ta-da, that's it. That's all you got to do. You don't have to make a table of values. You don't have to try and figure out what y is. Like there's no real math involved. You're basically looking at your graph and being able to plot those points on your graph. All right, I'm going to show you one more example. Graph the following linear equation using slope and y-intercept form. All right, now here we go. Y is equal to a -1/2x plus 4. Now sometimes this negative, I went ahead and I put the negative in the top with the 1. Sometimes you'll see that negative that they put kind of like right out here in the middle, and you're like, dude, where does that negative go? Just give the negative to the top and be done with it. Don't give it to both, because if you give it to both, a negative over a negative makes a positive, and that would not work. So right here, this little -1, if it's ever just like right here in front of the number and you're like, which one does that go to? Just give it to the top. All right, so here we go. If I'm looking at this equation, the first thing I have to do is figure out my slope and my y-intercept. So in order to figure out my slope, I've got y equals m. All right, so this must be my m. So my m is a -1/2. All right, so my slope is a -1/2. And then plus b, so there's that plus b, which is where my y-intercept comes from. All right, so I found my slope, I found my y-intercept. Now, the next important thing that you get is you have to start with your y-intercept. So you're going to start at your y-intercept. So my y-intercept is -4. All right, remember that this right here is my x, but this right here is my y. All right, so I'm looking on my y and I'm looking for +4, which happens to be right here. So that is where I'm going to start my graph. So I look, I find it right there, and I put a point. All right, that's where we start. Easy breezy. The next thing I do is I'll look at my slope. Well, based on my slope, I've got to figure out which direction to move. So here is my -1. Well, my -1 can tell me to either move up or down. Because it's negative, I'm going to move down. Then I'm looking at my bottom number, my +2. Well, my +2 can tell me to either go left or right. Well, because it's positive, I'm going to go right. So I'm going to move down 1 and to the right 2. So I'll start here, down 1 to the right 2. So that would be my new point. And then I can keep going. I can go down 1 and to the right 2 again, which is what most of us would do. But if I ran out of room, and let's say I didn't have